and furry friend are fighting. My fiance and I have been engaged for 6 months now and recently moved in. My fiance and my dog always play together, playing, cuddling, etc. Recently, my fiance figured out through social media posts and quick math that I possessed this animal when I lived with someone else and can't handle that he was part of my old family. Note, I was never married or engaged prior. This was an animal adopted with a previous girlfriend. She now wants nothing to do with him, and as a result, I spend less time with him as well. She has even alluded to forcing me to get rid of him or putting him down if I didn't like the idea of someone else owning my dog. Am I crazy for believing this insecurity is overblown magic?
Yeah, this is a. I'm
Petty.
appalled by this lady.
Petty.
I am absolutely. It is fucking petty. And you started that. The question started off as they're fighting. The dog has not fighting in this at all. The dog has no
dog found
part
out-
in this fight.
Dog found
at
out she's
all.
pissed.
Yeah.
All the dog has done is offer unconditional love, and he's being dragged into this bloody triangle of hate.
Yeah. The dog is an innocent bystander in all of this. Like, don't bring the dog down to this level. This woman is more of a bitch than that bitch, all right?
Ooh, very true.
Yeah.
Look, this is the thing, right? People are I think when people are in couples, it becomes like a quick thing for people to want to get a puppy or a pet of some sort, right? It's usually like before we buy a house, before we, get married, they get pets. And I feel like there's a lot of that sort of potential for things to go south. And then it's like, well, who's keeping the dog? Who's going to have the dog? So it's almost like having like a previous, like a past history it's always going to stay with you. And it's only it makes sense for this person to come in and be like, oh, you know that they've been with other people before, but do you want to sort of have a constant reminder every time you see, Peanut's face that you're like, hang on a second, that was bought in a loving relationship with somebody else. I hate Peanut now.
So are you siding with the girlfriend in this situation, Tom, or are you just trying to see her perspective?
I'm just bringing her perspective to the surface. I think there's nothing more amazing than a dog. I don't care what the story is, where the dog came from. I think dogs should only bring happiness, and I don't think you can associate a bad thing with a little puppy dog.
Yeah.
It's true. And it makes me think, like, where is this going to stop? Because I can imagine, like, his current girlfriend, like, finding a photo of his ex-girlfriend using a pasta strainer that's in the current house they're living in, and being like, why didn't you tell me you bought this pasta strainer with your ex-girlfriend?
Yeah.
What else are you hiding from me? Like, where does it stop? If she's willing to get rid of a dog, is it going to be like, I hate this coffee table now that I know you bought it with your ex-partner? Like, where does it end?
Yeah, that is such a good point. And it could be things like clothes. If you'd been in a relationship with someone, you might have gotten gifts for birthdays, for Christmases. You could have gotten a whole bunch of different things. Like everything in your environment could be related to a person. And if you let that get to you, you're only going to be more upset the more you realize it.
I feel like being upset about like an item like, the clothes like you mentioned, the pasta strainer, is more justified than the dog. The dog's a living organism.
Dog, okay.
How can you be like, no, get rid of the dog, put it down if you have to? It's a living fucking thing. All right,
It makes me wonder.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, it makes me wonder if she was like, if he had a kid from a previous relationship, like, how would she react to the kid?
Just put the kid down.
Just put the kid down.
Yeah. I mean, like, I get the pasta. Look, I don't agree with it, but the pasta strainer is like a $2 thing. You can get a new pasta strainer. That's fine. All right, fine. I'll throw it out if it keeps you happy. The TV, fine. It's $1,000. It's TV. The dog is a living thing. You're friends with the fucking dog.
Okay. I'm not going to say that like getting rid of the pasta strainer is harder than getting rid of the dog, Marcus. But what you would be saying is like every single item that you've ever bought within that person. Imagine having to refurnish your whole place just because your new partner had a problem with it. I mean, I would almost like put the dog up for adoption if I had to choose between that and refurnishing a whole house. I mean, financially, I'd rather the dog find a loving, living family in that sense.
True. But
let the other partner take it back.
Yeah, look, to be perfectly honest, I feel like the girlfriend on this situation, no matter what she says, is wrong. Like, the dog's fine, the pasta strainer's fine, whatever. I feel that way, but yeah, I don't know. I'm so riled by this.
I feel like this is just like, this would be exhausting to be in a relationship with someone. It's like, you want to watch a movie, you make popcorn and like she just goes quiet while you're like eating the popcorn. She's like, what's wrong? And she's like, where'd you get that popcorn bowl? It's like, oh no, here's another fight. Come on. Here's another fight. We are just trying to watch Uncle Buck on DVD and you just have to get on my nerves about the popcorn bowl. It'd just be so exhausting.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and you can't do that. Like a dog basically feels like a family member. Like when you lose a pet, it really hurts.
Yeah.
And like and the fact that she was willing to suggest to put it down is just like, come on. Like I think you need to put this relationship down because she's putting a pasta strain on it big time.
Yeah, a big pasta strain on it. I think you've basically proven it's like you're either a dog person or you're a dog shit person, as in you're just a shit person. Like, and she's not a dog person, she's a dog shit person.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think that's no one. Where do you go from here? I even though they're engaged, I would only for 6 months. I would maybe consider. I don't know if I could bounce back with a relationship like this. If she hated the dog that much, I would find it really hard.
I'd maybe imagine that maybe it's a raw situation as far as like it is still fresh to her, like that sort of her coming to terms with things. You need to give people a chance to find sort of reason within things. I don't think you should just be like, she said this, so fuck her off, get rid of her. I don't think that's really fair. I think people will give their natural reaction to things if they are upset about it, but I don't think you should hold someone accountable for that initial reaction. I think you need to give it time to basically try and reason with her, try to make sense of it. And if she can't see reason with it, then yeah, maybe it's not going to work out with you in general.
That's a good point, Tom. A relationship just isn't for Christmas, as that commercial says.
That's very, very true. Very true. You know what you can do as well? I found out that during this time you can like hire dogs, like look after them during COVID. So you can basically be a friend, have a friend to keep you company rather than actually buying a dog. I think that's a great idea. I think more people should get behind it because there are those dogs that might require a little bit more care or they've been sort of while they're waiting for adoption, you've got to look after them. Maybe, I don't know, that's not necessarily going to solve the situation, but I just mean like dogs can bring happiness to people. How could you be in a situation where you can look at a dog and like hate it and like only see the ex-girlfriend or the ex-partner's face on it?
True that.
Well,
true.
I don't know.
I think we've hit it.
I think we've hit it. Give it a little. She needs to give it a little bit more of a chance, but I think Magic needs to sort of weigh it out and see how he feels over the situation, and then whether it's worth continuing, that's up to him.
Yeah, I've actually got a craving for a magic coffee now.
Ooh, nice.
You've
got the magic in you.
I've got the magic in me. I've got the magic bug in me. Like I all this talk about magic now. Damn you, Damien.
And the best part is, Marcus, that when you order a magic coffee and the barista hands you a napkin, when you grab the napkin and you start pulling on it, it's just an endless napkin. Like it just doesn't stop. Just multicolored napkin just keeps coming. It's great.
Good. I need an endless napkin.
Marcus, I feel like where you live, you've got the ability to find like a cafe that has a magic coffee. I feel like my area is not the best with we were in a 5-kilometer limit as far as where we can get things from, and nowhere delivers to me, so much to the point that I had to get dumplings the other week and I had to leave my 5-kilometer safe zone, don't tell anyone, from about a kilometer out of the 5-kilometer zone to get dumplings the other weekend. So I was basically I was like a fugitive outside of my zone just to get some Szechuan sauce dumplings.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Your house radius is a real thorn in my side, Tom. And because for those who listen to the podcast frequently, you would know that we've been talking about Hungry Jack's Big Jack a lot.
Yeah.
And Tom said he wanted to treat himself to one. And I thought, wouldn't it be funny if I just got on Uber Eats and just sent Tom a random Big Jack? Like just sent it to his house with like no context. It just says for Tom on there, just rocked up at his doorstep. And his house was out of the goddamn radius. I was like, well, there goes my joke. Thanks a lot, Tom suburb. You suck.
Just imagine that I live on Skywalker Ranch, Neverland. I'm basically like living on Neverland Ranch, just in the middle of nowhere. I got a Ferris wheel. That's all that really matters. But I can't get dumplings or Hungry Jacks. So what can I do?
God damn it. It's not worth it then, Tom. It's not worth it for the Ferris wheel.
Let's leave it there for Magic. And that is all the time we have for the questions as well. But great questions brought to the table as always.
As we wrap up here, and thank you, Tom. I know we bring great questions to the table, as always.
Of course.
As always.
Do you guys mind showing me your tongues? Like, can you?
Yes.
Like, I just want to see your tongues at the camera.
Okay, I'm gonna tongue you, Damien.
Okay. Oh, okay. All right. So look at my tongue, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Great tongues, by the way, as always.
Yeah.
This is the most freaky quirky I've gotten on camera.
During this period. Yeah, that's a tongue.
What's going on there? What's going on?
See how my tongue's really cracked, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
It's something I forget about all the time. And then my girlfriend brought it up the other day. She's like, your tongue looks really cracked today. Are you okay? Like, should we be doing something about this?
Yeah, right.
Just like strapping Band-Aids to my tongue or something.
Yeah.
So I looked it up and it's called fissured tongue, right?
Oh, yeah. Yep.
And they don't really know what the reason is. And they think it might be lack of vitamins. Sometimes it's indicative of other medical problems.
Mm-hmm.
And I was on the Wikipedia page, and do you know, like, a lot of diseases have other names?
Yeah.
Or conditions, right?
Sure.
If you had to guess what another name for fissured tongue is, what do you think it would be? Just one for both of you guys.
Earthquake mouth.
That's pretty good. What about you, Marcus?
I was gonna say earthquake mouth. I don't know. Fuck. I don't know. Mine was gonna be earthquake
Cracked
mouth
tongue.
or tongue. Yeah, cracked tongue. Yeah.
Okay, those are fine. I would happily take those. One of the other common names for this bloody thing is scrotal tongue.
You got a scrotal tongue.
And it was so funny because I was reading it out aloud to my girlfriend, and as I read that one, she was like, "It's called scrotal tongue." So now, whenever we whenever I start bagging her about anything, she's like, "Whatever, you've got a scrotal tongue." And I'm like, "God damn it!" She's shutting me down.
I will say, as soon as you opened your mouth on camera, I was like, "Has he got a set of balls in his mouth? What's going on? What's going on there?"
I was so mad because there's like other diseases, right? Like measles is rubella, tuberculosis is known as consumption. Like those don't sound, they kind of sound poetic in a way, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, where does scrotal tongue come from? I looked into the etymology of scrotum. Like, I'm like, maybe it means something.
Yeah.
Looking for why it's called scrotal tongue. And the only reason I could find was it looks like balls. And I'm like, come on. Why did they catch on? It's so mean.
You know what? It's just like there's all these medical experts that just, they find things and then they discover them and they give them sort of reasonable names. The guy that discovered the fissured tongue, he just happened to be like some sort of really immature guy. He's like, "Hey, looks like balls, doesn't it?"
I'm gonna ask my partner, does she know what scrotal tongue is or fissured tongue? I'm gonna ask. I want to find out. Like, if I was gonna ask if it's scrotal tongue, and then she goes, "That's not a thing."
I want her professional opinion because whoever came up with it, his PhD stands for pretty huge dick because it's an absolute asshole.
I will say, like, your scrotal tongue doesn't look that bad. I think people can probably Google it and find worse results than it actually is. But
they're gonna find like a Photoshop of a guy that has balls like photoshopped into his mouth. That's Damien.
Look, I wouldn't be too concerned about it. I remember I used to have every now and then I had these like patches on my tongue that looked like they were void of taste buds. It was like a circle with no taste buds, and it almost looked like I'd gotten a lighter and I just like burned off the taste buds on my tongue. And I never looked into what it was, but it would just sort of disappear. And I haven't had it for like years and years and years. But I don't know whether it was like maybe I was just eating too many like sour worms or some shit, and it just like burned off.
You did like the Sour Patch Kids, Tom.
Yeah, I did.
The only drawback for me has been when I eat hot foods, I feel like it gets in the nooks and crannies of my tongue and just kind of lives in there.
Well,
it becomes volcano mouth.
Yeah, you get volcano.
Well, that and all the ball sweat that I get in my mouth from my tongue.
That doesn't help. Well, they do say when you like, you're cutting up chili and all that, like, you meant to wash your hands because, if you go to the toilet, it burns. It's the same concept. It gets in the nooks and crannies.
It goes both ways.
Yeah.
Oh, well. I hope you find the solution to your nutsack in your mouth problems, Damien.
Yeah, that's a ball mouth.
I don't know why you would confess that to the world, but that's okay. We'll let you deal with that now and think about it for the next week.
I don't know. We use our tongues a lot on the show. I figured it was worth bringing up.
It makes sense. Well,
Topical.
Look, I think that is all the time we have for the podcast. As I said, amazing questions brought to the table. If anyone out there listening wants to get in touch, you can email us at tqhpodcast@gmail.com. If you want to say hi, if you've got a question of your own that you would like us to answer, please feel free to send it there. Otherwise, that is all the time we have for this week's episode. Thank you to everyone out there for listening. Thank you, of course, to Marcus.
Thank you, Tom.
Thank you to Damien.
Thanks, guys.
And as we end every episode, scrotal mouth.
Oh, God damn it. I regret this already. Stay safe, everybody, and stay curious. Except for you, Tom. You can go eat my butt.
Thank you
again for listening. If you want to get in touch with us and ask us a question of your own, you can email us at tqhpodcast@gmail.com.
That email again, Tom.
Is tqhpodcast@gmail.com. We're also on what, Marcus?
We're on Twitter. We're also on Facebook.
At TQH Podcast. You can find us there. And we are also on, Damien.
Wherever you can get a podcast, that is where the TQH podcast is. Spotify, iTunes, Spreaker, Stitcher, you name it, we are on there.
And if you head over to iTunes, rate, subscribe, and leave a review, that would be fantastic. 5 stars if you think we deserve it. Thanks for listening.